Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to Life Coaching Access, your daily access with certified professional life coaches brought to you by Life Coach Philippines. Life Coach Philippines is our community. Life Coach Philippines is our community of professional certified life coaches, certified by the Global Institute for Coaches and Entrepreneurs, a bona fide institute for mental health that is based in Dallas, Texas, USA. Life Coaching Access is our service to the community, and we aim to help individuals experience the process of transformation through the platform of life coaching. If you want to know more about our international coaching classes and services, please connect with Coach Giselle through 0917 586 1661 for assistance. By the way, I am Coach Tony for En Route to Forgiveness, the New Beginning series. Your access with me is every Sunday at 2 p.m. And for my segment today, I will be talking about I believe it's episode 11 already. And the question is, when was the last time you said goodbye to standing still? Please tag your friends in the comments section below and invite them to join our conversation. You may also share this FB Live with your timeline and FB groups and pages so that we can reach more people and help change and transform lives. All right. So, hello, everyone. It's nice to see you again. And for those who don't know me just yet, or this is your first time viewing me, hi. Then I'd like to say hi. I'm Coach Tony, and I'm a coach directed towards millennials and younger people, as well as a career coach. As a life coach, I don't give advice, and I'm also not a guru. And again, if you really want to, contact me or get to know me a little bit more, or you would like to contact me for any of my coaching services, you can contact me through my email at coach.tony.espiritu@gmail.com, or you can message me on my Facebook pages, whether it be coach.tony.espiritu, or you can go on Facebook and search Tony Tonality. Or if no other options are available for you, then you can contact me through my number at 0906 2467 333. All right. So now we'll be discussing. Oh, right. Sorry. And before I continue, for this entire month of January, I will be talking about the New Beginning series. For this entire month of January, we've discussed in the very first Sunday, episode 9. When was the last time you did something for the very first time? Episode 10. When was the last time you let your shadow rest? For today's episode, when was the last time you said goodbye to stand still or standing still? And episode 12, when was the last time you did what makes your heart sing? But what I failed to mention for these past two Sundays or these past two episodes is that there are 5 Sundays for this January. So, to help everyone here, I've decided that for the 5th Sunday for this New Beginning series, I would like to ask you, when was the last time you allowed yourself to begin again? Hopefully that if all 4 episodes pre something and you felt that it didn't work, then I hope to see you on this 13th episode of ours. All right. So to begin, when was the last time you said goodbye to standing still? Let's say that you felt there were times that you committed to something and it felt like you didn't do anything, or something stopped you. Something felt like it wasn't there. Have you felt any of the following? Have you felt that you can't continue, or or you felt that you felt you were inactive or you can't do anything? You felt apathy, meaning you didn't care at all. You just felt nothing. Did you feel unwilling to do something or act or do something certain? Or did you'd much rather take a walk than do the thing that you're wanting to do? Or you want to read or play a video game or or do something else much rather than the thing that you're trying to do or an activity? Would you much rather avoid the difficult tasks? So similar to what I've asked you previous, or similar to doing something that's easy. Maybe you felt that, oh, the thing I'm trying to do is so difficult, or oh, I'd much rather do something else entirely. Or the dreaded anxiety. You felt very anxious. You didn't feel like you wanted to because you felt so nervous, or it felt you define standing still. Or how would we define this entire topic together? Well, standing still usually involves ignoring an unpleasant, but more likely an important task in favor of a much enjoyable one or something that's a little easier. If you're watching this live with me right now, or if you're watching this on a replay, type in the comment section below if you're connecting with me, and and I would like to also ask you if this reminds you of something. This specific definition reminds you of something. And while we're in this certain headspace, I will tell you this right now. I also am a personal sufferer of standing still. I feel like there are certain tasks that I want to do when I was working in a corporate job or in the corporate workspace, and I felt that I can't do the thing I have to because I felt so inadequate, and it was very, very difficult. Maybe the task wasn't as difficult as I would like to think, but there was something stopping me. And really, that's what standing still is. That feeling that I don't want to do the thing because it's difficult and I'd much rather do something else. But because that's the only task that you're given, you're kind of forced to do the thing. And it's not just about corporate work. You might also do this when you're being asked to do chores, when you're being asked by whether your parents or a relative or anything really, when you're in your house and someone asks you to do something but you don't want to, but you have to, and now you're stuck with an internal battle within yourself. That's what standing still is. All right. So when it comes to standing still, we have to overcome it. We have to overcome that feeling that we have in our hearts, in that certain headspace that we have. Those things that makes us feel like we can't push forward or we can't push through with anything. And how can we accomplish this? How can we overcome that feeling of standing still or being stationary in our own heart or in our own mind? While each of us have different personal reasons why we feel that certain way, or we are in our own little journey, really. And I can only help in so far as generalizing as much as I can. If you feel this way, then please feel free to contact me. or contact any of the coaches you see here in Life Coaching Access. But if you feel that burden or that feeling that you have of standing still, then how can we overcome it? And one of the ways that me as a coach for you or as an accountability partner for you to overcome standing still, and again, this is really generalizing. It really depends on your current journey, but overall, there are 3 steps to overcoming that feeling of standing still. The first one is recognizing your own standstill. You recognize that you feel this way and you need help, or you feel that there is no escape from this hell that I put myself in, and I got to get out. You cannot. One thing I'd like to share with you, that you cannot ask for help until you admit to something. If you look, and this goes all the way back to our very first episode. Admittance is the very first thing that can help us reach towards what we want. And in this case, when it comes to that feeling of anxiety or that feeling of I can't do it, or I can't, I got to do the thing that I want, that I have to, whether it be the task that I'm given at work or at home, and you'd much rather do something else that's easier or that's much simpler, but you can't because you're in your current headspace, then you have to ask for assistance. It's okay to ask for help. You have to recognize that there is something there. The second step is ask the why. In this case, why do we feel this way? Why do we feel like we're standing still all of a sudden? In certain days, we feel like we can do difficult tasks because we feel motivated, but then there are other days where we feel like we can't. And we got to ask ourselves why. We'll go into a little bit more detail in a bit. And for the third step in order to move forward is adapt the go. And again, I will further elaborate on this in a little bit. So without further ado, let's start with the very first step, recognizing your very own standstill. So how can we do this? Coach Tin, thank you for joining me today. And I hope that everyone can join me as well. So thank you for joining me today, Coach Tin. So let's find out how we can recognize our very own standstill. Picture yourself this first. You might be putting off a task because you had to reprioritize your very own workload or some of your tasks. And if you're briefly delaying an important task for a genuinely good reason, then you aren't necessarily standing still. That's a very good distinction between putting something off for something much more important and standing still. An example of this is you have an emergency call from your family while you're at work, and you had to push something off to the side in order to help them or assist them in any way, shape, or form. And that's not putting things onto the side. That's not standing still. You're still going somewhere. You're just reprioritizing something else, or you're reprioritizing a task that you need to do. And that is okay. What is dreaded, or what's not really good, is if you start to put things off indefinitely or switch focus because you want to avoid doing something, then you probably are standing still. And usually it's a byproduct of when you're demotivated, when you feel like you don't want to do it because the task that you're doing isn't what you want to do. And that can be very dangerous. That can be a very dangerous mindset to be having, in, and it can lead to piles and piles and piles and piles and piles of work or things that you need to do. And I am not I am not a stranger to this. I have experienced this, and there are certain things that I personally put off because I also feel that way. I also feel that there are certain things that I'd much rather do than I want to avoid. But I have to find a way in how I can refocus back into the thing that I have to do. A perfect example would be, well, let's go back to work. A work example. There was an important task or an important project that I had to commit, and I had like a 3 day deadline. And I really didn't like the job that I was doing, but given that this was a very important task that I had to undertake in, I had to do the task. And I put some things off for a few days, maybe a day or two, and then I started panicking. And that's when it really started to get out of hand. It's more not good. So that's a perfect example of putting things out of the way, and how and where did standing still come into play? Well, when the third day came in, or rather, sorry, when the second day hit and my deadline was the next day, I felt like I was inadequate. I felt like I can't do this because I put off so many things in my work. I f- and I felt that there was nothing I can do but start to panic. Um, and I really had to force myself to continue. Um, and if you feel a certain, and I'm pretty sure all of us felt this way. And if you felt that way in any time in your life, whether it be work related, or a task that you're given by your family members, then please put in the comment section below that you are connecting with me, because um, I'm sure that in some way, shape, or form, you've also experienced this, or you felt this way also. So, knowing this, how can we avoid this as much as we can, or redirect the things that we have to do? Well, we have to start filling our days with low priority tasks or stuff that we can do. You can either start with something small like checking your email every day, or plan out your daily things that you need to do, or check within yourself what you feel like doing today, or maybe take a jog, take a walk, or do your daily routine. Something that's not too important to get the ball rolling, to get yourself very active. Something that's easy for you to do. Afterwards, you can start the high priority task and start making your favorite beverage. And what I mean by this is, so for example, I love coffee. Actually, I made one right now, like a little earlier before I started Access. And when you're doing something that's really small, like for example, making coffee, or doing or writing down something, in the middle of it, start with the high priority tasks. So a perfect example of this, when you're writing down in your journal or when you're writing down in your diary about how you feel today, immediately open your very big project. If you're in school, maybe start with your presentation while you're writing down your journal, or maybe when you're making your 3-in-1 or you're brewing your coffee, um, look to your major project, major workload, and start doing that while you're waiting for your coffee. Because once you get that ball rolling, it gets easier and easier and easier. Hi, Coach Glacy. Thank you for joining me today so much. Thank you so much. So where was I? Oh yes. So when you start with the low priority task, it gets easier and easier. Kind of like when you're pushing a boulder, a really heavy object across somewhere. It gets harder at first, but if you do something like a small snowball or a small let's see, a small like a small piece of lint or something, and you start rolling it in like a cotton field or some place where it can attract stuff, then it becomes easier and easier. Yeah. And then the third is fill your time with unimportant tasks that other people ask you to do, instead of getting on with the important tasks already on your list. So, as soon as you get the small, unimportant things or the low priority tasks, as soon as you start with that, then you slowly increase the workload or increase the things that you need to do as time goes on, and then filled with unimportant tasks. It helps to declutter your mind because sometimes when we work and we start, let's say, when you're so into your work and you forget sometimes that uh, to feed yourself or become hungry, and we tend to forget our own needs as well. In this case, fill your time with unimportant tasks that other people ask you to do. So, for example, you're given a task by another. Okay, I'll use another work example. When someone asks you to get a piece while you're working on a project or you're working with your task, and someone asks you to get papers, while you're working, you can get the papers that's right next to you and pass it on to them. For example, when you're photocopying something while you're working on your task, you can do that. That's a specific work example. Um, I guess another example would be counting how much cash you have for lunch or dinner or something you need to buy. Doing something that can help declutter your mind as well can help you or loosen that hyper focus that you have. Because sometimes when we focus on the thing too much, it becomes the only thing that we'll do, and we'll put off the things that we'll have that we need to do. Fourth is wait to be in the quote unquote right mood or wait for the right time to tackle a task. What I mean by this is you know that you have a high priority task and you know that you feel like, oh, I can't do this, I really can't. While you're working on another task or while you're doing something else, when you feel that inspiration hit or when you feel that, hey, this is the right time to do the thing, then try to attack it. Try to go for the task already. Um, for work, for people who are in an organization or in their work, that may be a little difficult because maybe the task that you need to do is very important and you have to finish it right away. But when you look at the third example, or sorry, when you look at the third step, maybe when you feel that inspiration hit, maybe you can write it down. Like while you're sorting your thoughts, you immediately transition to writing down the thing that you have to do. Like for example, um, you're photocopying something, and then out of that photocopy, or out, when you look around and you look at someone doing something, you get a realization that, hey, maybe that person that's doing something can help me. So you write it down. Just write it down. That's when, and then when you look at the things that you've written down, then you can attack it. When you're doing something that you love, or when you try to do, or when you're doing a task that you really have a passion for, you have to go for it. Take the time to just go and do the task at hand. Oh, sorry. And yeah, that's really all you have to do when you're when you have to when you recognize that you're standing still. For the second step, ask your why. Why do you feel like you're standing still? Why do you feel this certain way? After you've done all the heavy lifting, after you've done what you needed to do, you tend to ask yourself, so if I did all of this and if I can still work on this, then why do I still feel this way? An important thing that you should recognize, and an important thing that you should, before or when you're asking yourself, why do you feel this certain way? Is you have to understand the reason why you feel the certain way before you can move forward with it, before you can tackle that feeling of standing still. Maybe because you don't like the thing that you're doing. Maybe it's because I just don't feel like it. Can be a simple reason as that. Um, can it be a little bit difficult for you to find out why? Yes, that's why we have our own blind spots. It's You have to ask yourself why. And you can ask other people as well. Why do I feel why do I not feel like I want to do X, Y, and Z? Why don't I feel like doing my schoolwork? Or why don't I feel like I don't want to do the job that I'm doing? Or why don't I feel like I want to plan that outing? Maybe you just don't feel like it, or maybe you just don't want to do it. It can be as simple as that. You just have to understand your reason why before you can move forward with it. So when you understand why, then you can understand why you you feel whether you feel like you don't care, or whether you don't want to move forward with it, or you feel like you'd rather much do something else, or why you feel anxious. The moment you can solidify in your head the reason why you feel this certain way is the moment you know what you need to do. And again, if you feel like any of these things are bothering you, whether it be schoolwork or whether it be in your career, then you can shoot me a message and I'll try to help you as much as I can with everything. Or I shouldn't say that. I will try to help you as best as I can. Of course, as a life coach, we do things in a process, and I'm supposed to help facilitate you with said process, because because we life coaches are your accountability partners, and we want to help you as much as you can with the goals that you set for yourself. That way, we can both tackle the things that you're feeling together. All right. And third, adopt the go. So you've done the task, you understand why. Now it's time to tackle it. It's time to kick that feeling and crush it and throw it out in the trash, or throw it out. And how do we go? Or how do we find that go? How do we adopt that go? How can we move forward? Give me a minute here. Thank you. All right, thank you. So let's adopt that go, shall we? We can do this in 4 steps. First, we have to forgive ourselves. Remember, our 4 episodes were our baseline, where our core subjects, or where our foundation comes from for all of this. By admitting to something, by self-discovering ourselves, by setting the goals that we have for ourselves, and having that accountability partner. We have to forgive ourselves. We have to forgive the reasons why we can't move forward, or we can't do the things that we need to do. And if you want, you can take the time, and if you want to know how we can forgive ourselves, then you can look at my first 4 episodes here in Access if you have the time. But to summarize, if you don't have the time, first you have to admit to something in order to, again, going back to the very first thing that I mentioned, you have to admit to something first before you can move forward. Because once you solidified in your head or in your mind and in your heart that there is something wrong, or there is something that's off-putting, then you can move on to the second step, which is self-discovery. You have to discover what is it that's causing you to feel that certain way. And third would be goals. Once you've merged the two, once you've admitted to yourself that there is a problem, and once you've discovered where does the problem lie, you can now form goals on how to move past it and move on with where you need to go. And fourth, of course, an accountability partner. You can have yourself as an accountability partner, or you can ask someone, whether it be a life coach, a friend, a family member. You can get someone to be your accountability partner. And that transitions us to committing to a task. So once you have that accountability partner will help you refocus on commitment to the thing that you have to do. And afterwards, while you're committing towards the task at hand, promise yourself a reward. After. Don't give yourself the reward just yet. As much as it's really tempting to give yourself a reward for doing the task that you're doing, it's much more sweeter once it's earned. Once it's really earned in your heart and in your mind that you've accomplished the thing that you have to do, then reward yourself. And then once you've solidified that in over the course of forming your own habit or forming the things that you have to do over and over again, then it becomes more of a go, and less about standing still, because you pushed yourself to go. And of course, accountability partner. Accountability partner is very, very important. See episode 4, or again, just to summarize, accountability partner can either be yourself or another person that you trust that can help uplift you. And the accountability partner has to be someone that you yourself know that can help you move on or move forward. And that's mainly it. Sounds simple? Yes. Is it easy to execute? Depends on the thing that you need to do. But is it worth it? Most definitely. And I know that you can do it, and I know that you can push forward with this. And it's all right to ask for help, because we can't do the thing that we can't do things alone. And maybe we can, but doing things alone can get us so far. But if you believe in yourself, then yeah, you can. But remember, my friends, it's really okay to ask for help and ask for guidance. That's why we're here. That's why us life coaches would like to help you, or any of your friends would like to help you. All right? And I hope to see you again next week, same time. So, as we end today's episode, let me invite you to visit our coaching hub at Teacup Coffee Republic, located at Pioneer Center, PC Compound, along Pioneer Road, corner Brixton and United Streets, Capitolio, Pasig City, just across by Neon Center. Our coaching hub is open physically from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. only, but virtual operations is 24/7, and we offer coaching services on demand any time of the day, any day of the week. Please connect with Coach Rizal through 0917 586-1661 for your coaching needs. Again, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you next week on the same day at the same time. As always, love, bam, boom.